Hey podcast peeps, this is the 228 podcast. My name's Patrick, and today I want to talk about my clay bar experience. Yay, clay bar! I detailed my car about 2 or 3 days ago, and didn't fully detail it, but what I had was, washed the car, did the tires, had some iron fallout remover, and after I was done with all that, dried the car, and clayed my car for the first time. I've never clayed a car in my life. So the package I went with was Meguiar's Smooth Surface Clay Kit. And I'm going to tell you what this kit comes with, and then the second part of this podcast, I'm going to go into how I did it. So Meguiar's Smooth Surface Clay Kit comes in a box, and inside the box you get a quick detailer spray. You get a microfiber towel, and you get two clay bars. And the one I got was the white clay, and I think there's a blue clay and a gray clay. Now the white one is for kind of your all-around claying, I have a daily driver, that's what I did it on. It's not as aggressive as the other two, but it still gets a good job done. And I'm gonna tell you what, my paint feels like a pebble, a smooth pebble. That's what it feels like. It kind of feels like the edge of my glasses. It's nice and smooth, even though it's layered in pollen right now because the trees don't know what the hell's going on. But underneath that, the paint is super, super smooth. It vastly improves the shine of the car. I can't believe I waited this long to do it. I think I could probably do it one more time this year, but for the most part, that's pretty much it for this next 6 months or so. It just depends on what the condition of your paint is. This was a 2017 car. It still has some paint defects on it, but the finish on it right now is super, super smooth. It looks great. So what comes in the box? What comes in the box is the detailer spray, the microfiber towel, 2 clay bars. Now these clay bars are in a rectangular box. When you open it up, you have 2 clay bars. Now each clay bar can probably do your car 3 times, can clay your car 3 times. If you don't drop the clay on the ground. Now, I did the rookie mistake, and I'm sure it's happened to whoever and their mama has clayed a car before. You drop the clay on the ground. So what happens with that piece of clay is it gets thrown away. And the reason being is because the minute it drops on the ground, it will pick up whatever contaminants, whatever rocks, whatever sand, whatever's on the ground immediately. That piece of clay is no good. So I broke off another piece of clay and went to town with it. So the whole process was real easy, and I will share that with you in just a moment. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Had an idea that you were very passionate about and wanted to share it with the world? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions too. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen to? How do I make money on my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. Anchor's been really easy to use. I can create, edit, and distribute my podcast seamlessly. The experience has been great, and I can't believe I waited this long to start a podcast. So if you always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join me and a diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's Anchor FM/start. Can't wait to hear your podcast. Now, how I clayed the car, it was pretty easy, but I kind of made a boo-boo or a mistake on my own. So what I did was, when I used the iron fallout on the car, I sprayed it all off, and I actually left the car wet. And that's probably a no-no on my part, but I thought in my own thinking that water had some lubricity, and with the quick detailer, it would help that be extra lube. So before I started, I had my piece of clay and I molded it into like a disc to fit my fingers, sprayed the quick detailer onto the clay so it's lubed, sprayed down whatever part of the car I was working on, whatever panel, and put the clay on the panel itself and started rubbing back and forth, kind of like you're DJing on the ones and twos, and you're just like, with the clay bar. And I guess, visually I'm doing the hand motion, but it's really back and forth real fast until you don't hear you can tell by the texture of the clear coat on the car where you need to do it and where you don't, because where you do it and you have the quick detailer sprayed and you have it all lubed up and you're going back and forth on the car, it starts to get easier to go over that part. So that part will be done, and you can move on to a different section. Now, in each panel, I kind of broke them up like the hood. I broke it up into 4 sections. So I did 1/4 section at a time, and back and forth movements pretty much in a row until I couldn't feel any roughness in the paint or anything. And once I was done with that section, going back and forth in a row and making sure that I rubbed my glove, because I was wearing gloves with this. And if you're detailing, quick tip, wear some gloves, save your hands. That's part of our job. That's we need to protect our body and maintain it so we can do this job. So once I was finished the quarter section of that panel, I was able to take my microfiber towel that comes in the kit and wiped off all that quick detailer residue and all the stuff that the clay bar picks up or leaves on there inside the quick detailer. So that kind of brings me to another point in section. With this, what's the purpose of claying your car? Well, once you've done the fallout and you sprayed all that off, there's still contaminants in your car that you didn't get up with the wash that the fallout may have not gotten. And what the clay does is picks up all that really stuck on contamination that's in your paint. And it's kind of prepped for maybe a 1 or 2 step correction or polish or, and a coating of your car. But what that clay does, it pulls up all of that loose contaminant that's still located on your paint. So it doesn't get rid of light scratches. It just pulls out the contamination out of your car. Once you think your car is clean, you still have contaminants there. You clay it and you make sure there's nothing on there. So, and while you're claying it, it levels out your clear coat just slightly. It does do some correction, but it makes your paint smooth. It doesn't get rid of the scratching or anything. Now, the other part about this is, if you don't clay your car correctly, and let's say you don't use the quick detailer to lube your clay up, you can mar your paint. And you'll feel it whenever you don't have any lubricity between the clay and your car's surface, it'll drag. And I think I might have marred my paint a little bit on the passenger side, but make sure that you keep everything very, very lubed up, because you'll stop like you're doing a little scratching motion on the ones and twos, and if you don't have enough lube on that clay will stop on you. It'll tell you. It's a great indicator of, hey, you need to spray some more stuff. Pick up the clay, spray some quick lube detailer, and go over to the spot again. Now, you don't want to press hard against your paint because you will mar the paint. So you want a light touch on the clay, on top of the paint, going back and forth like you're scratching until that surface is very, very smooth. Then you come back and wipe off that excess quick detailer with your microfiber towel. So that's how I did it. I think the results came out fantastic. I would probably suggest doing this once or twice a year just to make sure that you get all those deep contaminants out of your paint, and before you go on to the next step, which is paint correction. Like I said, this will not do any correction. This will just pull the contaminants out of your paint. All the stuff that is bonded, it'll take it quite right out. Now, the next step about this is, let's say you finish a panel. You pick up your clay and you look at it and you see all the contaminants. All you have to do is fold it in half, and maybe fold it into a quarter, and then kind of work the clay bar until it's a nice little pad again, and you can go to another panel. And like I said, I probably used a third of clay to do the whole car, had I not dropped my original pads on the ground. And I mean, it just slipped out. So you have to be very mindful about not dropping the clay on the ground. But I'm pretty sure that I could have finished the whole car with 1/3 of the clay. That's how it works. It doesn't run out. You just fold it up and go to a new spot, and you just keep folding it and folding it and folding it, and pretty soon you'll be done with the car. So there's no doubt in my mind that 1/3 of a stick or 1/3 of the bar will take care of your whole car. So just don't drop it on the ground. Easier said than done, but don't drop it on the ground. So if you want to clay your car, make sure it's clean, do the fallout, dry your car, use a lot of the quick detailer spray. I would say the quick detailer probably lasts me the whole car, and then it was toast. I was done with the quick detailer. There's no more left. So if you clay your car, make sure you have a bottle of quick detailer with you. That way you can lube up your clay and lube up the surface of the car. And you have that lubricity to get all that bonded contaminant out. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you for spending your time. I'll talk to you later. Hey, podcast listener. Thank you for your time and listening to this podcast episode. Please leave a review on whatever platform that you listen to this podcast on. The feedback will greatly help us develop a better podcast. Also, visit the website, 228.com. That's TWOTWENTY, the number 8.com. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.